Okay, so now we're going to start training in the second state that this piece of equipment can exist in. And that state is that the ball is traveling through space, but the stick is not rotating very much, not enough to be a threat to you. So in that case, we have to start talking about 3 substates, because it can go through space while the stick is not moving much, but the stick can be in different positions. Now, far and away, the most common one is it's going forwards and backwards, towards and away from me, while the stick is horizontal to me. Now, this is by far the most common substate of state 2, because anytime I score a good thrust, that's the way it's probably going to come back at me. You see how I'm swaying forwards and backwards? It's one of my common ways dealing with this, right? Because I'm looking for chances to hit it again. And many times, if you can stay safe with your swaying motions, you're still creating a good thrusting platform. And if your swaying is timed right, you're still safe the whole time you're trying to thrust. It's never going to touch you. So that's a good basic foundational skill. What a lot of Filipino martial artists call delastico, which is elastic. They'll hide behind a tree and they'll come out and hit and fall back behind the tree. Jungle fighting tactics. So anyway, that's the most common state. It's horizontal to me. That's also my favorite state in which to kind of catch it and move it around. It's much more difficult to catch if it's not squared up to you. So that's another important element of this state, is that's one of my favorite times to catch it and then move it somewhere else. So there's another way that I can create or induce state number 2. This is one of the earliest things that I developed when I started training with this, because it gets boring just hitting it and reacting to hitting it. I like to create states that are a little weirder. And one of those is, or all 3 of them actually, I can create that first substate by backing away from it, lifting the ball up, and just releasing it. Let me stay in camera frame here. So I back up, lift it up high, and release it. That gives it a lot of swinging energy without any spinning energy. It allows me to really work my evasive swaying. But I don't have to release it in the horizontal configuration. I can put it in a different substate. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to purposely break my rule and allow the point to point at my body as I back up and lift it. Now when I release it, it's swinging and I'm immediately threatened. So I want to swing it, release, and as it begins to come back, I need to get off that line of threat right away. I need to pick a hemisphere and move into it and start training over here. There's no time to waste when you do it that way. There's plenty of, here, I'm swaying and being elastic, but here, no. I don't want to sway in and out and be elastic against a threatening point. Okay? I want to get to the side, much more efficient. And once I am in one hemisphere or the other, then I'm interacting with the lever from there. And finally, and in my experience, the one that you'll see the least, but you can still create it, is to have the lever hanging vertically or close to vertically as you release it. Let me get in a different place. My garage door is in the way. So I'm going to release it fairly vertical. Oh, there's the garage door again. Let's try it here. And this tends to create sort of a vertical spin to it, sometimes more than others. You see how it wants to spin, but it's still on the threatening plane. So when I serve it, it's like serving a tennis ball. When I serve it on the vertical, I'm going to quickly pick a hemisphere and go off to the side, but it's not the same as when it's horizontal. So I like to release it in different states when I step back and I go to serve it. That's grasping it with my hand. I can also trap it with my levers and move it. And I'm giving it some potential right now because I've got it tilted, the string is stretched a little bit. I can get my head out of the way, release one lever, push with the other one. But that's creating state number 4, which I don't really want to go into right now. So, we have 3 different substates of the ball moving through space. It can be horizontal to me, it can be threatening me, pointing straight at me, and it can be vertical, and of course it can be in states that are sort of in between that. Each of those requires a little different movement on your part. So that's our next level of training. I suggest that you play with that for a while before you try to move on. Remember that when you hit it hard, it's going to spin hard. We'll get back to that. We'll deal with that later. But for right now, I'm just trying to bring you along with this and give you the information you need to enjoy training with this without endangering yourself.